Are you someone who's struggling with confidence? Well, today I'm going to talk about what we mean by confidence and some guidance for you in terms of really boosting your confidence so that you don't hold yourself back as much. Sharing some of my story as well. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Recently, I've taken on a new sales role, and in the past, I've taken on sales roles. I've taken on jobs. I've taken on businesses and working with people, all sorts of things, right? And I was realizing that I was lacking confidence in the new sales role I was working for with someone. And it got me thinking because, I like to talk about self-esteem and confidence. And even then, I can get caught in places where perhaps my confidence is lacking. And we're going to talk about confidence in a minute. I remember last year also, I decided to start dating again, and I really lacked confidence in it. I was very much like, am I going to be so good at this? Even though I've worked a lot on my self-esteem and confidence over the years. And I was like, okay, I need to figure out the right thing to stay. I wasn't a nervous wreck by any means, like I would have been like 10 years ago. I was just a little bit lacking confidence on what to say, how to be like that charismatic, cool, calm, flirty guy. And yeah, I remember going on my first couple of dates back since, the whole pandemic thing early last year. And I was lacking a bit of confidence in terms of that person-to-person interaction. And likewise with this recent sales role, I was like, okay, I've got to figure out the script. I've got to understand what I'm saying to people, what the offer is, who these individuals I'm speaking to are. And it really got me thinking. And that's why I thought I'd create a podcast today on it. Now, when you say when someone says to me, I lack confidence, let's talk about this. What do you mean? Like if someone just comes up to me and goes, I lack confidence, I have no idea what they're talking about. Sounds silly, right? We've got a self-esteem and confidence mindset podcast here. Let me explain. Confidence in what? Because nobody has confidence in everything, yet nobody has zero confidence in everything as well. Confidence is the trust you have in yourself. And you can lack it when you get into new situations. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. When we start generalizing and saying, I've got no confidence in anything, that's just our minds talking. That's not true, right? You've got confidence in things. And it's a case of using that and applying that and building confidence in the things you feel you need more confidence. And confidence is trusting yourself. And there'll be certain areas in life where you trust yourself. And I'm going to say some silly examples. You're probably pretty confident at brushing your teeth in the morning, right? Hopefully you brush your teeth. You're probably pretty confident in what you have to do every morning when you get up. Well, generally, right? You may have a job or a business. You're probably pretty confident, unless it's new. So say you're like 6 months to a year in it, you're probably pretty confident in what you have to do, like day to day, right? If you're not, there's probably something with management or leadership training. It's not necessarily, or the fact that you just haven't applied yourself, which is where you take more responsibility to actually go out and proactively learn it. But typically 6 to 12 months onwards, you're probably pretty confident in what you have to do in a job, right? Yeah, it's things we start going, maybe I lack a bit of confidence socially with people. And then therefore you start saying you have no confidence in anything. And that's what the brain does. It generalizes quite easily. Now we're going to go into some points in a minute. Ask yourself this, by saying I lack confidence, how's that helping you? Creating that narrative in your head does not do you any favors. And what I shared was, 5 years ago, if I was lacking confidence in something like the new sales role or going out and dating last year, I would have been like, I've got no confidence in anything. My brain would have done that. Now I know it's just a case of I need to build my confidence up by taking a little bit of action and then working on my self-talk at the same time. So don't generalize and let it hold you back and start going, I have no confidence in anything. So we're going to go into 3 points now. I think will really help you. The first one is a concept I talk about quite regularly, and I'm going to emphasize it. And you may have heard me speak before on a podcast or generally in speaking, and I do repeat the same points. Why do I, from time to time, why do I do that? I do that so it sinks in. And it's actually people think you need more and more and more information these days. It's not knowing more, it's doing more. It's doing with what you know, and that's key. So that's why you may hear me repeat things, because it was certainly my case. I was like hearing the same things over and over again. I was like, I know that, which is one of the worst things you can say. You only know it if you're doing it than living it, right? And that's what I realized. Okay, so the first thing is model confidence in an area. So think of somewhere where maybe you're not confident in. Maybe it's a social situation. You go to and this is, I get regular feedback on this, so that's why I'm talking about this as an example. You go to like a social event, you go to like a network event and you're very nervous. Now, if I went into a network event, all right, and there are loads of people I didn't know, there would be a little bit of nerves. I'm not going to lie, right? I would take action and talk to people. And there's definitely a lot more confidence than I would have done like 5 years ago plus. Yeah, those kind of things, you're gonna lack confidence at the start when you do it. But I've always realized when I start going to those things and start mixing with people, then my confidence builds as I'm there for longer and longer, having gone to a few networking events in my time. So yeah, if it's social, for example, think of someone who's really good and confident in social situations. You see them, they're like going from person to person, and you may not have to know them. They may be someone like a celebrity or someone famous, someone you admire, who's really good socially, right? So start listing the qualities of that person and then start writing it down. And then when you do that and you keep recapping it repeatedly again and again and again, you'll start taking on board some of that and then start applying it. So and don't overwhelm yourself, just do like one thing that they're doing to start off with. So for example, you notice there's a certain person in your work or your day job, right? And they're really good socially, like they're going from person to person. Start writing down what they're doing. Like they're okay to just mingle with different people. They stand there for a while and talk. Maybe you try a little bit of that. You don't have to do extreme, but you just take little steps. So that's the first one. Model and start noticing someone else. And what you'll find is if you write down like a list of the things someone socially confident does, in this example, obviously it might be something else where you want confidence, and then you start reading it again and again and again. And I do this, by the way. I've got a bunch of role models in things like business, health, even emotions, like people who are like really, who are happy most of the time. Nobody's happy 100% of the time, but pretty energetic, pretty lively, pretty good. I wrote down a list of what all those people are doing, and then I read these every single day, right? So then just start recapping that. The second thing, and then taking like one action from it, one little habit you can do. The second thing is just do something at least weekly that's going to challenge you a little bit. Ideally daily if you can, or every other day. Minimum a week though. Do something like in an area you're not confident in that's going to push you a little bit out of the comfort zone. And the thing is, when people hear like this comfort zone and all these things, they're like, oh, I've got to do something really dramatic straight away. No, you don't have to do something really dramatic straight away. You can take little steps. So think of something small you can do. Like if you lack confidence socially, let's keep with this example. Maybe it's just saying, good morning, how are you, to someone who gives you coffee, and that makes me really want coffee right now. But I put a limit on it for this week. I live in the center of Bristol. There's lots of coffee shops by me. Anyway, I went on a tangent then. So, like, maybe you say good morning, and if that's too much, maybe you just smile at someone and hold eye contact for 1 to 2 seconds, not in a non-creepy way. Just do something for you, or maybe it's just good morning to someone in the street. Okay, then the third thing to really build up confidence that I found really super effective is prepare in advance. When I'm prepared, I feel a lot more confident. And you can prepare by visualizing the situation, writing down what you're going to do, what you're going to say. So in the social situation, you could write down a few things you could ask people. You could visualize yourself having a conversation. Here's one really key tip: practice your body language. Practice your body language very regularly, like walking upright, smiling, calm, and do it. Practice in private, because then you can start applying it. This was a game changer for me when I lacked confidence in a certain job. I read a book, and it really allowed me to actually build my confidence. It's called Higher Status by Jason Capital. If you want to know the name of the book, I recommend reading that if you want to build confidence in anything. It's not a massive book either. It's a great book, lots of actions in it. And I started like working my body language, and therefore I would prepare myself to walk into work-related situations, and then eventually even like business related situations where I could be more calm, I could give people good eye contact, I could be present, and I could be coming across a lot more confident. And I felt a lot more confident because of the way I was moving my body. Okay, right. Let's go on to the bonus point. So those are my three, just going through them again to really boost your confidence in any sort of area. First one's model it. Write down someone who's confident in the area. I use a social example, but it could be someone who's super confident with money or business. What do they do? Like, or they're really good in business. Like, what do they do? What are the habits? Second one, think as a challenge you can overcome at least weekly, ideally daily, something tiny. And yeah, do that every day. And then that's going to build your confidence, because it could build momentum. And then the third one, prepare in advance of something. You can do some visualization. You can write down what you're going to do. Don't overanalyze it, but preparing really makes you confident. People like go to job interviews and go like, I really struggle in job interviews. Have you like rehearsed it? And they're like, well, I was reading. I was like, did you read it out and role play with someone else? Well, not really. No, that's why you're not as confident going in. That's what I used to do all the time. I went through so many job interviews. Practice role playing your job interview with someone like every other day or every day before the interview, and you go into that interview a lot more confident. Okay, that's just another little tip I wanted to share you there. So if you're going for a job interview, or even if you've got a business deal, like if you're an entrepreneur and you're going into a business deal, like practice role playing with someone. Sales, we role play all the time. I'm trying to get more role play into my week. It makes me more confident when I go into calls. Just to share, I'd like four. So I've had like 4 calls in the last 2 weeks. I've been role playing like crazy, and guess what? 4 out of 4 signed up. Not for my business, as something I help someone else out with, but it was just like role play, preparing in advance, getting confident. So my bonus point for your confidence is to schedule in celebration every single day. Like, this is the essential that's I wanted to say this to the end because it wraps all the things I've talked up. If you don't praise yourself, you are not going to go further faster, as my mentor says. So you can really go further faster by praising yourself. When you praise yourself, your nervous system will want to do more of something. So just smile, schedule some time in to celebrate. I do it 5 times a day. I'm celebrating, I'm jumping up on my rebounder or a trampoline. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, you can obviously see it. If you're not, I'm just showing people my rebounder, my mini trampoline. I jump up and down and celebrate every single day. Right. Okay. So that's what I got for you today. I really appreciate you being here. You could be listening to anything, but you're listening to me, and I really appreciate that. And you're improving other people's lives by being the best you as well. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.